checking us out. We got a little sad news in the world today, man. The boy Malcolm Jamal Warner is gone. He left the earth. He was definitely a nice actor. He did a lot of great things, man, but God took him up from the earth. And there's really nothing nobody could do about it. Obviously, when God chooses, we all got to go one day. When and what day that's going to be is really up to God. Nobody knows, but I'll give the report from, yeah, it's, give me about 5 minutes, it'll be out.
Wi-Fi is strong.
Let's let the
Video
commercial
calls
play.
coming your way.
I have the call.
We gotta let that commercial play because they ain't gonna play until the commercial play. Shut up, commercial. Get out of here. All right, let them people talk about it.
Welcome back. We have some very entertainment news to share with you. TMZ is reporting that Malcolm Jamal Warner, probably best known for his role on The Cosby Show, has died. People reports that the 54-year-old was in Costa Rica on a family vacation and accidentally drowned while swimming. Warner played Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, even earning an Emmy nomination. He most recently starred in Fox's primetime series Alert Missing Persons Unit. We're going to have much more on this story as it develops. He leaves behind a wife and daughter.
Oh, just shocking, sad news. All right, Amanda, thank you.
And that's sad though, because you know, a lot of us grew up with him and grew up watching him. You know, I remember being in the '80s, being a little kid, following his story, following him as an actor and everything like that. He was on Bill Cosby show, and Bill Cosby was so famous at that time. He had a cartoon. We were kids, you know. So for whoever he was going to choose to be in this movie was going to be successful. In his show was going to be successful, and it just so happened to be Malcolm Jamal Warner, which is a blessing for him. And because for him to make it and then be successful like that, it was a good thing for him. You know what I'm saying? He was able to get in the game and make a name for himself. And we always watching him. You know what I'm saying? We was fans. You know what I mean? It was a little bit weird because they was making it seem like when we was kids, you know, we were really kids, like, you know, 12, 13. You got to think we're very young, 14, some shit like that. And you know, by the time the show was over, I was 18. You know what I'm saying? So let's say it started when and it was on for 6 years. So I was started like 12 years old, then it go up to 16. So I remember literally being a fan, watching these guys, and just being so happy for them. You know what I mean? And but I noticed something about Theo that I never forgot, and it's just something that just rained in my brain. Even when I was young, I said, "Damn, I don't think he fucked with hip hop." I just remember saying that when I was a kid, because you know at that time hip hop was so fucking big, and it was like everybody was a part of it. It was a TV show out called 227 that was on TV, and I remember thinking like, well, the black dude that was on that show was a young dude like Theo, and he was in the rap. Like he had to, like the news channel, I think it was CBS. They came to the rap studio where he was at, and he was showing them the music he make and all this shit. And I was a kid like, okay, so then when Theo time came, he never did that. And I used to be like, oh boy, never made it. Oh boy, is not a star. He was just a black dude that was a boy that was on 227, the TV show. He's like a black dude. You probably can see him. You probably remember him. But he never was a success story. He didn't like make it, and nobody gave a fuck about him like that. But I'm just saying, I remember him. And so when I remember Theo being out there, I never did see him go fuck with niggas in the hood like that. I thought one day he was gonna be like, you know, he gonna get away from Bill Cosby. He gonna be doing his own thing. But he never really did that. He kind of let it, you know, he kind of stayed like low key a little bit. And that's his business. It ain't for me to judge him, you know what I'm saying? But I just know that. So, but I'm glad for him that he did become a success story in his career. You know, I'm glad for him. I'm glad for him that he did succeed and that they did choose him because he was the right mannerisms for that particular show. Had that been a real black dude or whatever, a real hood nigga, it probably wouldn't have worked out for that guy. They probably would have looked at him and said, you can't be on here. You don't really give the image that we give it. And oh boy, for him to be able to melt up under Bill Cosby and showcase his talent like that, I thought that was unique because he, you know, I remember him having an interview on TV when we was kids, and his mother was on the show with him, and he was sitting next to his mother, Michael Jamal Warner. We was young, and he was like, his mother was saying that I make him still take out the garbage. Like, I don't care, he on a TV show, he still got to take out the garbage. He was laughing. I think it was on one of those late night shows or some shit like that. And I never forgot that. And I was like, damn, this nigga still, his mother make him still do the shit that you would be thinking when you was a kid at that time. Like, I ain't taking no garbage out. I'm making money on a TV show. I wish I would take some garbage out. But his mother was like, I don't give a damn who you is. You got to take the garbage out and go, whoa, whoa. And I was a kid, because at that time in my city, it was like, man, people would take the garbage out. Sometimes people got shot and shit like that. You thinking to yourself that they live the same way. But he grew up in New Jersey, and then he was succeeding in his game in the Cosby Show. In New York, and that was dope too, because it was like, damn, he in New York, what the fuck, man? You know, we was fans, man. We was fans of this guy, man. You know, I really was, but I just never got where he never really embraced being from the hood and all that. But you know, I guess everybody ain't like that, and that's what his final podcast was about. They say he had created a podcast for himself, and it was called Not All Hood. And I was like, not all hood. Well, he was basically saying that all black people aren't hood. Every black person don't come from the hood, and every black person ain't a hood person. So it's kind of misleading for you to think that I'm gonna be like somebody from the fucking hood. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he was trying to project and be about. And that's what he was. He didn't act like that. And I thought that he was just taking on Bill Cosby role, because you know Bill Cosby wasn't one of the people that really fuck with niggas like that. You know what I'm saying? He was a bougie black man. He was way older too, so hip hop wouldn't have been shit he gave a fuck about. But you know, I thought that Michael Jamal Warner could have had his own image and his own hip hop theme. We were young, so this is just I'm telling you my thoughts of him when I was coming up. Obviously, he moved on from that. He got his own thing. He started doing his own thing with Eddie Griffin and shit like that. But let me just do one more of these little write-ups or these things that happen to him. And right here.
Co-star Malcolm Jamal Warner has passed away at 54 years old. According to multiple reports on July 21st, the actor died following an accidental drowning while on a family trip to Costa Rica. An official cause of death was not immediately made public, and Access Hollywood has reached out to Warner's reps for comment. Warner shot to child stardom as Theo Huxtable, the son of Bill Cosby's title character on the iconic sitcom, and he received a 1986 Emmy nomination for his work. He went on to appear in dozens of TV shows and films, including Fool's Gold, American Crime Story, 911, and more, as well as his own series Malcolm and Eddie, with co-star Eddie Griffin from 1996 to 2000. His most recent credited role was on the Fox drama Alert Missing Persons Unit earlier this year. Just days before his sudden death made headlines, Warner was also seen in the July 18th episode of his Not All Hood podcast.
Thank you so much. I love you too. For years upon years upon years upon years. And one of the things I love about you so much is your spirit. And last month we were doing a poetry set, and we were
And it sold out 3 shows that Malcolm Jamal Warner sold out at City Rock.
Yes.
We're the waiting list.
we were backstage and we were talking about the podcast. And I was, podcast is called, Not All Hood. And I couldn't even finish my sentence. And she was like, ain't nothing wrong with the hood. Ain't nothing wrong with the hood. And it made me realize that there could be a misconception that we're saying not all hood, saying that the hood is bad. But the concept is like what the media shows us is one side of black culture. It's the hood side, and the hood side, ultimately, historically, is what has always created American culture.
Sure.
Right? It gets co-opted from the hood, and then it becomes mainstream.
Exactly.
But I just loved I loved your take and your reminder that the hood should be as celebrated as the rest of the lanes of black culture.
A Grammy winner, Warner is survived by his wife and daughter, whose identities he said to have kept private.
And that's crazy. He kept his wife and them private. And that little thought that they were saying about making all the segments or delineations, or even just elements of the black culture having a message and having an imagery, that's important too, because when he was out with Bill Cosby, that dominated the landscape. So today you will look at the youngsters, they a little bit more hood, they're a little bit more, you see that more. You got the BMF, you got, the Wire type shit. It was like a lot of that was going on, and that's more like today's time. But when we was kids, it was no rappers on TV at all, except, and it's no kidding, you would have Ice-T, obviously, and then you would have LL Cool J, and that was it. And then by the time LL Cool J got introduced, we was so young. We was happy as hell. It was like, God damn, about time. But it was so many other rappers that you wanted to see, but they wasn't gonna fuck with him. But he had the song at that time, and it was so big that they couldn't do nothing but fuck with him. But TV and all that, it was none of that. No, the coolest you could get was like this nigga on TV. He was a white dude named Fonzarelli. That's about as hood as they got on TV. They didn't fuck around. He was white, and they didn't let that shit on TV at that time. So it came in gradually. So whereas now you look at it, you don't see none of that Fonzarelli shit. It flip flop. And then so his imagery, which is what Huxtable Boy, Theo was doing, it kind of went away. It's not no more a thing. And nobody cares so much about the safe black dude, the guy that's not, a threat, the guy that don't. I mean, you could actually see his persona in a what's dude's name? Tyler Perry. Like, you could see his kind of imagery in a Tyler Perry movie. But for most movies, a Tubi movie, you're not gonna really see that kind of character in a movie. You know what I'm saying? And they do it. Those movies are still here because in order for you to transition into Hollywood, that's how your acting is gonna be. You're gonna be like, what Kevin Hart is today. You know what I'm saying? He was from the streets, so he's from the hood. And then when you work on white people movies, you with Will Ferrell. Y'all in the bathroom scene doing the penis scene. It's like, that's what it turned to. So he didn't let himself get to that point. He said we still got a different kind of elements of black people, but that don't mean we go work for white people and we play this slave or something, because he didn't do demeaning roles like that. He didn't take roles that made him look goofy or make him look like he was trying to shuck and jive for white folks. He didn't do that. He wasn't the laughing stock. He didn't play the goofy in the role. So he learned a lot from Bill Cosby about having respect. And another thing about Bill Cosby that a lot of people don't know, that Bill Cosby had played in this was his mentor, but it's not known about Bill Cosby, this particular story, that Bill Cosby was making a movie called I Spy at that time. He was the man. He was the Hollywood heavyweight at that time. Bill Cosby. This is before our time. It's like 60, whatever the fuck. It's way before our time, my time at least. So Bill Cosby, was time for him to have a stunt man for his movie. And then they was obviously just going to use a white person. He like, what the fuck y'all doing? They like, yeah, we ain't got no damn black people. He like, well, fuck that. I'm finna go find some. So he went and got some black people, and they got them to be in his stunts. And then they ended up having a stunt school, and he started black men being stunt people. Bill Cosby started that in Hollywood. They didn't have that. That wasn't a thing. And it became a thing under Bill Cosby. But this is my man's, his mentor. This the guy who is talking to you on the weekends about how to be a man, about how to stand up for yourself, about how to move around a room full of sharks. It would almost be like Jay-Z is your mentor. So Jay-Z don't have a big scandal on him. He ain't been accused of none of this heinous stuff like I would say Diddy, but obviously Diddy had a stain on him. So, but this would be your mentor, but somebody like Bill Cosby. And at that time, now Bill Cosby obviously got the stain on him today, but 1986, 1996, 2006, 2016, it wasn't even a conversation, was he like that? The question would be if anybody asks, hell to hell, no, he ain't like that. But obviously, white people know his personal stuff. And you see what they said that happened to him. That's really something else that's scary, man. They say he died in Costa Rica, man. It's like another country. This is like not your country. You in another place. You in the water, splashing. You feeling like, oh shit, it's a little deeper right here. Let me get right there. Oh fuck, you know what? Let me look back. Oh shit, there go my people. Let me swim a little bit further. And you're not thinking that this is a danger zone because you see so many people on the boat in the water. You can't. Your brain is so far fetched for this, and then you get yanked by the motherfucking current, and it's like, what the hell? Curtis, you out here bogus. But hit the like button. But look, also, when you see that, you be like, God damn, man, the water. And I remember being a kid, like at 14 years old, I was at a camp. And I remember, like, we used to swim out to the, it's like a little middle, I don't know what you call it, a plank or some kind of little thing would sit out there in the middle of the water. But we would swim to it, you know what I'm saying? So, and it probably was about a good, I don't know, 25 feet out, but me and my buddies, we 14, we would swim to this shit, So as we going, I remember trying to be cool. So the big ass plank thing was like, you would get there, but I'm dumb, I'm from Chicago, I'm from the city. You know what I'm saying? Got the barbershop part. Y'all wildin'. What's up, Unc? 10 minutes until you move. Yeah. Be good, bro. We talking about this, Malcolm Jamal. So anyway, I get to the plank, but instead of me going straight up on the plank, I'm trying to be cool. I go under it. I go under it, and still when I go under it, it's nothing but seaweeds like coming down from the bottom. I didn't predict that, you know, but I'm seeing like fucking seaweeds everywhere. So I go even deeper under. I'm trying to go on the other side of this fucking plank thing that we're gonna be climbing up. So I go underneath it, and as I get further deeper, I feel fucking current. But I didn't know what it was. I just felt the water going so fucking fast that it hit my foot. It hit my right foot. I felt it like, damn, I ain't never felt water going that fast in my life. Obviously, I swam back up, got on top of the plank, and you know, when we get up there, we didn't know that fish jump up there. So dead fish is up there, and the flies eat them. But in the woods like that, the flies bite skin. You know, they call them deer flies. I'm from Chicago. They don't have shit like that. So anyway, we jump back in the water and we swim back to the beach part. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? That was a current. That I'd never even felt no water that speed in my life. And imagine, I'm 14. Imagine it would have yanked my ass. We wouldn't be having this podcast today. But at that time, I was a kid, so it was no threat to me. I just felt it. Like, damn, I never felt no fucking thing going that fast ever. It was going so fast, the water. But imagine you're a big grown man and you're in Costa Rica and you on the water, you standing in the water and shit, you chilling, you know, the water was at your knees at first, and then you keep going out, now it's by your waist, and then you keep walking out a little further, now it's around your chest, and you like, well, fuck it, you look back to the beach and everybody back there, your family, you waving, and you might even go for a little swim a little bit while you out there, and then the thing yank you. And then yank you under, and that's what happened to him. He got yanked under, because that's really what happened. A lot of people that are like professional swimmers, like my little brother was a lifeguard, so they try to train you how to deal with currents as a lifeguard, which is scary as shit to me. It's like, what the fuck y'all talking about? But this is what he said. He teach you how to swim with the current. So they said try to swim with the current instead of fighting against it. But imagine you getting yanked by a current. You're not the thing you thinking is swim with it. No, what the fuck you ain't. You know, the thing you thinking is you finna die, and it's got you underneath the water, so you're not able to swim back up and get air. And this is what kill you, because when they yank you, it's a basically, I don't know, like if you could push your hand in the tub. You can see everything rolling with your arm. Nothing can stop it. It's all moving in that direction, and your body is in that. And in the water, the fucking edge of you could probably see the sky. It could be this high from you, but you can't get up there because you going that way. The current is a death trap. I remember about 2 weeks ago, which was maybe the first week of summer in Chicago, they had a boat thing, and then the people was at the Navy Pier, which is like, no, they wasn't the Navy Pier. They was on 63rd, which is the black beach. That's like the black part. They call it the bungalows because you had the black people up there hit the bungalows, so they call it the bungalows. And it's on 63rd, and it's at the beach though, so it's not neighborhoods and blocks. It's like trees, water, and just bushes. And so the people was out on the water though, Lake Michigan, and some people were swimming through with you know, those things you do all this shit on the water, the little whatever they call them things, and it splashed on them. They was on the boat, but they sitting on the edge of the boat chilling, and the water splashed up on them, and they fell in the water. So they deeper in the ocean, in the lake. They not like by the edge. They actually by out there, and dude swooping through with his little thing, and it splashed on them, and they fell in the water. And so they found the girl in Navy Pier downtown, and that's, if you talking about 63rd, that's like, man, that's so fucking far from the south side. It's probably about 11 no, it's probably about from 63rd, it's probably about 12 or 13 miles straight down, no kidding. It's straight miles, I'm saying. I mean, she's on the water, but you ain't on the sidewalk, and you ain't on the train, and you ain't on the bus. You in the water. She could have got down there in fucking 5 minutes. It could have took her down there in 3 hours. Like, who would know? But, you know, that's where they found her body, at Navy fucking Pier. And could you imagine that shit? It's like if she fell in on 63rd, that's not even real. But that's what the current did. So she get yanked. Now, I didn't hear about them finding the guy, but rest in peace to all of them. But it just show you that when you fuck around in water, what can happen. And I remember in September, I don't even fuck around at the water. It's over with, because that's when you hear a lot of people getting killed in the town I'm from. You know what I'm saying? They always jumping out there in the water, like in the later part of the year, the wind going crazy. It's about to be fucking fall, but people don't be, man, fuck it. And I did that too. I'm not trying to stunt like I had me met some white girls and shit, and we was like 23, and they was like, they from Indiana. They was like, I want to go to the beach. Shit, we went dead to the motherfucking beach, jumped in that motherfucker in September with nobody out there but us. We swimming in the motherfucking deep part, kicking it, but we didn't get yanked by no motherfucking things that day. So it just what happened. But if you go out there at a certain point, your ass could be dead. You could be dead fucking around. Let me see. I think Eddie Griffin said something, so we're gonna see what Eddie Griffin got to say about this subject.
The passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner has done many, as the now late actor was only 54 years old at the time of his passing. As mentioned in our previous report, Warner has reportedly drowned while on a family vacation in Costa Rica on Sunday. According to TMZ, a very reliable source would first share the news. Now, some of Warner's friends and co-stars are sharing their reaction to his now tragic incident.
Just trust God, Rob.
Screen with Warner on the sitcom Malcolm and Eddie would break his silence moments after first reports regarding the passing of his former co-star. On Instagram, Eddie would reshare a post on Warner's drowning, and he would respond with the caption, "My big little brother," followed by prayer hands and heart emojis. He would later follow that post up with another picture and caption that read, "My heart is heavy right now. Rest easy, my brother, for you have won in life, and now you've won forever. Eternal bliss." Now, what makes Griffin's response even more noteworthy is that the two men, according to Warner, butted heads behind the scenes of Malcolm and Eddie. The information would surprise many as their characters played best friends on the show. Warner would reveal this during an interview with Sway in the Morning.
When I look back at this show, one of the dope things is me and Eddie really did not get along.
In real life?
In real life.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
we didn't get, but every single week before taping, we'd come together, we put our hands together, we bow, and we pray before we go out there.
Why y'all didn't get along?
Just different schools of life.
Yeah.
Different schools of life. And we were, we're still cool when we see each other, but it wasn't like we weren't necessarily best friends.
Okay.
But we understood that check.
Yeah.
And we understood that you can, work together and still have respect, but don't necessarily have to, love each other while you're making them.
According to him, a large part of Warner's issue was that he would transition from what the Cosby Show stood for to later appear on UPM, where he felt black stereotypes were being pushed. Doing Malcolm and Eddie was probably the four most miserable years of my life. Now, outside of Griffin's response, Darius McCrary, who would play Eddie Winslow on Family Matters, would share his reaction to the news. Over on Instagram, he would post a meme with the caption, "Processing." Now, it is unclear how close the two actors were, but it does appear that there was a relationship, as McCrary has previously wished Warner happy birthday over the years. According to McCrary, in an interview with Comedy Hype, he felt that his character, Eddie Winslow, was created because of Theo Huxtable. As far as other responses, Wayne Brady would share his response to CNN's comment section. "What a loss, God bless you, brother." Followed by Jamie Foxx, who would share the news on his Instagram page with the caption, "Speechless on this one. Rest in power, my brother." That's far.
Yeah, man, it is. It might be, AV, I think so, because that's what's been going on. It's like, dude is like a landmark. He had made a lot of, impact. Hit that like button too, y'all. Appreciate the love. Make sure you like and share. I appreciate the love too. He had made a heavy impact because, again, at that time, you have to go back to 1986, where it wasn't a lot of guys like him on TV, and especially in a comedy way. And then he had a small part. See, he really wasn't the fan. He wasn't the man. He was like the kid of the man. Imagine that. Bill Cosby is the guy. We watching Bill Cosby, but he was the kid. So for him to have a legacy today, that has a lot to say, because what the fuck did we care about the kid? But they would write him storylines, like he had the shirt that was fucked up that the sister Lisa Bonet had created, and then that became legendary, like even to this day. You know what I'm saying? Like people put those shirts on, and they'll even ask the younger generation, "Yo, what is this shirt from?" And they'd be like, "I don't know," and it'd be from that show. But obviously we remember that time, and so it's just, he had a legacy that he had left. But I think that I don't know him personally, but I'm just saying from, how black guys be on TV and all this shit, and I was expecting a little bit more of that from him. They didn't give him no leading roles in movies. He wasn't the next Denzel. He didn't get no TV shows where he was like the leading guy that lasted like Bill Cosby's. He had like little small gigs, and then they whapped him out. But he was pissed off on being on UPN with Eddie Griffin, and everybody know Eddie Griffin's comedy is really harsh and really aggressive and grimy, and he say what the fuck he got to say. So that's gonna be, imagine this is what white people was doing with that, or whoever casted that movie, that show, was bringing them two together. You got this uppity black dude who's just got through working with Bill Cosby, and then you got this little hood dude that's grimy from the streets, and let's bring them together and make them have a show. And that shit was fucking gold. I hated when it ended because at first I didn't like to watch it because I was a little off with Malcolm Jamal Warner, but then the dynamic that they played in that movie, it was perfect, and I was like, I loved it. And then it ended. And I think he had a show right not too far before that, but he was like a spaceman with old boy who played on I think he was on Different World. It was a light-skinned guy. I think he fucked with old girl to this day from the Cosby Show. He fucked with old girl Vanessa, the guy who played with him on this show. So it's just really horrible to see him go like that. He has such a hard, aggressive-ass legacy, but you see how fragile life is. You understand what I'm saying? You could die like that. You understand what I'm saying? It's just horrible, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, self-made allergy, man. You gotta have that mindset right up in your brain. But and I think that's what happened to the guy, man. It's just sad, man. It's your wife, my kid. That's a dope ass name. You know what I'm saying? But look, let me go and play another clip from what they got to say about him dying so fast.
Dad, for $30, I can't even get a Gordon Gartrell tie.
Well, what are you, a personal friend? Now, you take $30 and get yourself a nice $30 shirt.
Could you make it 35?
I can make it nothing.
Mom, I'd grab it. You guys are ruining my life. But I don't mind.
NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas is here in studio with more. Also joining us is television host and entertainment journalist Shagun Oduawulu. Chloe, I'm going to start with you. What more do we know right now about the circumstances surrounding his death?
That's right. So, Sam, we know that this incident took place on Sunday in Costa Rica. He was
no,
on
you
a
good, bro.
vacation. He was swimming off of the coast of a town called Cocles in the province of Limon. He was swimming at Playa Grande. I mean, I've visited Costa Rica a few times. I was there with my family a few years ago, and those currents can be very strong. And it appears that he died by drowning. Costa Rica's judicial investigation police confirming to NBC News that he was declared dead by the Red Cross and that some bystanders actually tried to come to his rescue. But unfortunately, it was too late. NBC News, we have reached out to his family for comment. He leaves behind his wife and a young daughter.
Tragic.
That's so massively crazy, man. It's like, yeah, he gone, man. God took bro, man. He gone, yo. God took him up out of here, man. He was out there in Costa Rica. He jumped in the water, fucking around, and the currents yanked him. The currents is dangerous as hell. Anybody could go like that. That's something that's anybody. And it's so funny too because say you got your family with you, your girl. Hey, hit the like button too, y'all. What's up, man? I appreciate y'all coming to check me out. I'm Hood. This HoodFilms was going on. So anyway, imagine you out there on a beach with your lady. You flew in town. You got off the plane. You know what I'm saying? You there now. You like, oh man, this bitch decent. It's hot enough bitch in this motherfucker. And then you see the ocean. You like, damn, that shit beautiful as hell. And they like, yo, we got to get in that bitch. But when you walk inside the hotel, they got a dope ass motherfucking pool in this bitch. It's like, damn, look at this motherfucking pool, nigga. It's crazy. Nobody's like, I want to see the fucking ocean. Nigga, you see the ocean from here? Look, it's right there. Man, fuck that. Let's go to that bitch. You like, nigga, I want to be in this. I'm about to swim in this bitch. Man, you gonna swim in this stupid ass motherfucking dumb ass pool with the fucking ocean right there? But you can't predict that you about to be dead as soon as you get in that bitch. Because why? See, I remember being a kid at the beach. You could walk out, like you could walk up where you get to the water that's high in your head. I mean, you really could. And I never thought no time about no currents. Like you just walking out on the beach. First it's cold in the bitch when you first get on the water. And then you like, God damn, but you trying to like get used to it. And some people just run straight in and just splash the shit out themselves and then they okay. And then you be like, well, I ain't finna do that shit. And you be just creeping in the motherfucking water and walking in that bitch slow as a bitch is freezing the fuck out of you, inching up your body. And then you go out to that motherfucker, finally you all the way up to your nose or to your head. You like, all right, I can dip in this bitch. And then you dip in that bitch like you can swim. But this is the problem when you out in the world. Like you in another country, like you can't predict how their water is. You don't know shit about it. You can't even know what the fuck, man. Yeah, it's like it can kill you. And then it's like a tsunami. Basically a current is like an underwater tsunami. because you can't see it. But you know, a overwater tsunami, you can see it because a big ass wave is hitting you. And so you have to be a learned person if you're gonna do this, man. AB said my cousin down at the beach, he fell off the big boat and everyone was drinking. He couldn't swim and he couldn't rescue him. Don't play with water. That's a fact. And one of my buddies I grew up with, man, shout out to Jimmy. He was a fisher. They used to go out and drink beer and fish. And he ended up falling in the water. And like you said, everybody was drinking. They couldn't go in there and save him. And then, you know, the people had to come get him and shit. And I was like, you know, obviously, when you fall into the water, you basically food for animals. That's something that you don't think about. We never imagined ourselves being dinner for animals. You know what I'm saying? But if you fall in the water, what's up, Brother Jay? You could die. You could die, and that's what happened to him, you know what I'm saying? So that's what happened to Malcolm Jamal Warner, and he was never assuming getting off that plane or flying his family. Imagine if he didn't go on the flight. Imagine if he didn't go to the beach. Imagine if he was like, let's go get something to eat. I want to go to them. Hey, let's go see what they got. We're going to go to the museum. But when God wants you, he could have still died in a car accident. He could have still died from choking on some food. He could have died from falling out the fucking window of the damn high rise, you know, or the hotel. It's like, God wants you. And it ain't nothing nobody could do about that. And it was just sad for him, you know what I'm saying? What's that? Toronto in the house, let's go. But, you know, I mean, it's sad. I'm going to let them play a little bit more, man. See what they got to say about MJ Warner.
Yet to come about the circumstances surrounding his death. First, I'm just going to pivot for a second to Shagun, as some of our younger viewers may not be familiar with his role.
That's true, Tyrell.
Can you talk about the words Theo Huxtable, right? It's sort of historic and frozen in time as this iconic character. What did that mean for television, and what does it still mean to this day?
Sam, Theo Huxtable was me. Theo Huxtable was my brothers. Theo Huxtable was the first time someone that looked like me saw someone that looked like himself on television. He was the epitome of what we as kids, you know, in a certain community were growing up, but he was also an American story. He was on the #1 sitcom in the 80s. He battled with his sisters. He disappointed his parents, and he was a cool guy all through it. We resonated with him. We related to him. His passing is so horrific because if you're a guy of a certain age, you feel like you just lost, like, maybe your best friend, your brother, but someone you grew up with. Like, the conversations that Theo Huxtable had on screen with Bill Cosby, his TV dad, are the same conversations that I, a child of immigrants, was having
That's
with
a fact,
my
Wendy.
parents, right? Taking out the trash. They were high achievers. My dad.
Well, see, you know, this guy's a little off because he's a fucking immigrant, and not no diss to immigrants, but he's kind of off with it. You know what I'm saying? And I can see where he's coming from. But Huxtable was a black motherfucker from America, and just like Bill Cosby was as well. And what they were actually doing were breaking the mold of not necessarily just being your brother or your cousin or somebody you related to, but they were breaking the mold of what the images of black men were. Because at that time, in a lot of culture of America that wasn't on TV, it was a time in life where a man could walk out on a woman with kids. He could just walk out, say, hey, I'm finna go get some milk, and go. Or hey, I'm finna go get some smokes, and go, and then leave the woman to raise the child, and it wasn't illegal. And so this is the time frames when they were putting child support and enforcing people like, you got to be at home and raise your kids. You can't just go. And then at that time frame, a lot of families didn't have a father at home because of the welfare situation where the man couldn't be at home. So kids were being raised with just a mother. They didn't have a dad at home. So it was a lot of people who you grew up with in America, in this country, as a black person who came from the down south, whose parents used to be slaves, and it was like no connection to your history or your homeland. It was like you only was here in America watching TV. That's how you knew anything. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, whoever, whatever it was, it came from television. So it wasn't like a lineage connection to your homeland, and you also knew that you was Nigerian or whatever culture. It wasn't like that. You wouldn't know none of that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people didn't even have a father at home. You know, I remember my dad used to, because I had a father at home every single day of my life. Never one time did I not have a dad. So I remember thinking, an American dad from the South, and whose parents is from the South. And I remember thinking from my dad being home all the time saying, man, don't nobody eat steak. Don't nobody eat steak at night, at home. You know, don't nobody eat steak. You're a kid. You're in the house like, why the fuck do we talk about don't nobody eat steak? You bought this shit. Don't fucking buy it if it's such a fucking a problem. Like, why the fuck? And then you just didn't know that a lot of people didn't eat food like that. A lot of people didn't have a father. We had to sit at the table with our father. All of us had our chair, and he was at the front head, and my mother was at the other side, and that was what our life was. But then you didn't know that a lot of people didn't have it like that, and that we didn't live bougie. My father was grimy as hell. He lived on the west side. He grew up on the west side of Chicago and moved to the south side because that was a form of being uppity or bougie or moving from where you was from. You moved to the south side. Obviously, the south side grimy to the motherfucker too. But he was moving from the west side, so he felt like this is a different environment. It's like if I moved to another part of the city. So the whole point about it is that we grew up with my father didn't act shit like Bill Cosby. Didn't talk like him. Didn't have none of the attributes, none of that shit. And it was like, well, where is it? Because you're a kid. 12, 13, is it because Bill Cosby's a doctor and my father is not a doctor? I mean, because the woman's a lawyer and my mother's not a lawyer? No, it was just that they were portraying a characterization on TV that they wrote out in the script and everybody was watching it and liking it. And that ain't had shit to do with you. It didn't mean you wasn't shit. It didn't mean you was grimy, or it didn't mean your family wasn't nothing. It just was a storyline that he came up with. So people connected to it, but in reality, people hated it. People looked down on that. They was like, man, don't nobody want to hear this shit. This motherfucker sound crazy. You know what I'm saying? You ain't showing us blackness how it is in America. Like, what the fuck we living like as black people? What the fuck it really is, nigga? This shit you showing is fake. You from motherfucking Philly, and you know what it's like to be a black motherfucker in America. What is this character you playing? Who's the doctors? Who's these black motherfuckers? Who's the actual who is these people? We don't see that shit. Ain't nobody a doctor in our neighborhood. Ain't nobody no lawyer in our damn neighborhood. And that's black because a lot of times when people got education in the black community, they moved out. They got a job, they got education, they got some shit, they moved out. Not a lot of Africans, not zero Africans lived around you when you was growing up. Not zero Puerto Rican people lived around you when you was growing up. Only people lived around you was African Americans. That's it, period. No, never did you go to a party and they played Jamaican music and shit. You didn't start hearing that till you got way older, like fucking 20, 29, 20, you had to go to the clubs. But it was really segregated in our community, and they were showcasing that they were also black, but living inside a bougie area in New York. And we took to it. We was believing it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until, again, you way older before they started shouting all that shit out against Bill Cosby. But I believe that hurt old boy Malcolm Jamal Warner, because he was emulating dude. He was trying to stay away from hip hop. He was trying to stay away from the street element. He was trying to stay away from the hood shit. He didn't bring nobody up with him like, this my cousin, he also act, or this my girl, she also act. It was all about him. And if he didn't get the job in Hollywood, then you just didn't see him. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't creating his own movies. He never really worked with Tyler Perry. Like, you don't do shit with Spike Lee. Like, he I don't know if he pick and chose, or I don't know how they choose how they work with each other and shit like that, but he was kind of like in his own little circle, you know what I'm saying? You said it seemed like you were referring to Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince, but I'm not. I'm talking about Bill Cosby, because I remember how he was rocking at that point. Let's get back to it.
PhD, my mom is a therapist. Bill Cosby on the Cosby Show is a doctor. Claire is a lawyer, and you're struggling on how you're going to achieve this kind of lifestyle they have for you. What they talked about is what we talked about in our home. It was this American story we related to. So his passing is so hard to fathom, because I've been talking to friends of mine and my brothers and even my sister, like, can you believe this guy is gone at the age of 54, so young, when he meant so much to us growing up?
It's just so interesting to hear, even years later, how it is still viewed, his role is still viewed through that lens, his natural charisma, the breaking of these racial tropes, everything that Shagun, you just laid out. I do want to turn again to Chloe for a second. Have we heard it all from his co-stars or anyone else connected to him?
It doesn't appear so, and that's because this news is just unfolding in real time. We are all just learning of this tragedy, but Magic Johnson just taking to X moments ago saying that he and his wife are so sad to hear about the passing of our dear friend Malcolm Jamal Warner. We were both super fans of the hit Cosby Show. That's just what you heard from Yagoon, right? I mean, this is a show that is played in countries on rerun a million times over, right? I mean, there are a few people that you know in the world by first name and also by the name of the show. You know Coca-Cola, you know the Cosby Show, right? And he is one of those individuals that goes down in pop culture history. But again, I mean, just the nicest things that Magic Johnson just posted saying that he's praying for his family and the close friends during this difficult time. We've reached out to his former Cosby Show co-stars and we haven't heard back. I'm sure it's a lot to process in this moment.
It's also interesting to hear Magic Johnson as someone else who shifted cultural paradigms, transparency, conversations with families in the 80s and 90s.
And one of the
there's a
first
harmony
to
there.
speak out, right?
Absolutely. Great point on that. Shagun, can you tell us more about Warner's career beyond just The Cosby Show in those years? He was actually in the public eye for a very long time.
Yes, he was. I mean, for younger audiences might know him from the show about the show on O.J. Simpson, where he played the getaway driver in the white Bronco. But he was an artist. He won a Grammy. Like, he was on Def Poetry Jam. He had this incredible smile, this incredible voice.
And I do agree about that, man. The boy put a lot of work into it, man. He put a lot of hard work into his craft. And I appreciate that because, again, as a kid, I really connected with him. I connected with that show very much so being a kid. It came on Channel 5, which is NBC in Chicago. It came on and everybody stopped what they doing and they went and watched that. That's how big that show was. It was like one of them shows where you stopped, the whole damn house watched it. It came on a bougie station, which was Channel 5. So anybody who wanted to see that show, you watched it, and we watched it all the way through. Everything. I mean, sometimes they had songs they was doing. Sometimes it was just comical as hell. And then when it was over, you got up and walked away from the TV. Whatever came on behind it. Because again, at that time, it wasn't like a lot of black shows came on behind it. Another thing that Bill Cosby did that a lot of people don't really realize is that he also started that show that they had behind that called. It was like a college show. What Living Color, some shit about. You remember the college thing that was out? Lisa Bonet got on it because she had left the show, and it was like this big thing that he was being too controlling for her. So they wanted to give her still a new opportunity. So he produced that show that they had. I think Tupac played it, and we was all watching that shit. We was so enthralled by what they were doing because we were very, 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 very young. So this was like the entertainment, the black entertainment. So they were pushing college on us. Then Spike Lee was pushing his movies out. Like he was putting his stuff out there in the game. So we was all sitting back like, yo, this is what we're gonna be in our future life. You know, obviously they switched it. You know, so the media, the television, the people who behind the scenes, whoever own the outlets, they stopped it. It's over with, and it's been over with to this day. Different World, that's the one. Yep, man, I love my people because y'all be hearing it and you know what I'm trying to say, but I can't remember all of the different titles because it's been so many years that I even watched it. But at that time, that's all the shit I watched. I was a kid in the house watching it only. That was the shit. So you know what I'm saying. And he put a lot of effort into that and a lot of work. And he would even do those comedy shows and show up to people, events. You know, those white people who would be having those, what would they call them? Like when they at night, you know, they had those late night TV shows and shit. Like he was on all of it. That's how you would hear from him because there was no internet. So he would be Malcolm Jamal Warner coming on. So the news would go on first, and then it'd come on the dude doing his comedy shit. You had to wait through all this stuff. They might have some white lady on there first, and then okay, Michael Jamal Warner. Now you sitting up, you get to watch him talk about whatever his, you know what I mean, thing is, and they asking him questions. What you working on next? You gonna be in some movie? Tell us something funny about the show, and then boom, it's over with. Now, okay, now you get to walk away because there was nothing else coming on that was black. It was very small and very minuscule on how you would be entertained at that time by black people. So for him to be the person, he was the guy. Like it was no other dude. It was only him. It was not 14 comedy shows, 9 TV shows. It was just that guy. Johnny Carson, yup. David Brown, know what's up. Yup. Johnny Carson, yup. This how old he is. He was on Johnny Carson. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't on Jay Leno. He got on Jay Leno later. You understand what I'm saying? But this is how you would hear from him. Because you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't necessarily be reading magazines and shit, you know what I'm saying? But when he would get on there, that's how you would know. You know what I'm saying? Yup, that's true. Tyrell, yup, even Matt, even him. And then you would see him even but again, he never linked up with hip hop. And that would be the one thing that I used to look at him and say, well, what's wrong with him? Well, I mean, you know hip hop wild, and you imagine him being some kind of mogul in hip hop today, and he'd probably be caught up with about 40 different bullshit problems, you know what I'm saying? But that was the times that we grew up in, and that was the time that we saw somebody doing what we wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, hell yeah. And he didn't have to fight to be on Johnny Carson. He was the only black dude on shows doing some shit. It was him. It was a black dude on 227 that was out there, but he wasn't even like a main character on 227, so they probably wouldn't even have that other guy on actually Johnny Carson. But they say that this is the last video that Malcolm Jamal Warner put out before he passed away, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those YouTube or Instagrams or some shit like that he had popped out with, and the people caught it. You know what I'm saying? As soon as YouTube get done with their stupid commercial, because you know they like to play 100 commercials.
What's good?
All right, let's flip. Oh, there ain't no damn pigtails. Honest L, what you on, man? My fault. Thank you. Thank you, bro. And I said, imagine going out there and putting all this time and effort into your life, and that be your message. Yeah, but I hope I'm back. I hope I'm back too, raw. And I said, imagine that be your message. That was a dope message to put out there to the world as your last message to the world. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of sad that was it. And he said, but imagine that. You know what I'm saying? You didn't link up with hip hop. You didn't run in the streets. You didn't get drugged out. You ain't drunk. You know what I'm saying? He was making it a way for himself. You know what I'm saying? And he was able to hit people with some beautiful stuff. You know what I'm saying? You say Malcolm V was on. Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna run that back then. I'm gonna run that back. Damn, some kind of way I did the menu.
Good.
I didn't even know that. Let's do that again then.
Yes, I got the flower in my hair. Today's my daughter's birthday. She put the flower there, so I'm rocking it. But it's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. I just wanted to shout out and just spread some love and some good cheer. And you know, life is out here lifing, right? For me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile. Like if you just take a minute to stop, take stock, I guarantee you can find at least one reason to smile. And if for some reason you can't find a reason to smile, then that's probably the best time to be the reason for somebody else to smile. So, find a smile for yourself and be a reason for someone else to smile. That's all I got. Just some love, peace, and love, and I'll be back soon.
And that's a dope ass message right there to tell the people, man. Because you never know how long you got on this earth. And to say something so brilliant and dope will help people understand that that's what you're really supposed to be doing. You know, can you imagine that? You don't even know that that's your last second on earth, that you're not going to be here no more. But that's the message you leave. So sometimes it's good to be yourself, to not try to blend in with folks or try to become somebody that you're not, because your message could be convoluted. It could come out wrong. It could come out bad. And then people listening to you and thinking that you got some kind of dopeness about you, and they're hearing the wrong part of you. They're hearing what you don't want to get out. Too raw, they say he died from a drowning in Costa Rica. The currents yanked him when he was messing around in the water. You know, those big gigantic oceans that they got out there, these islands, and you're not from there. You just kicking it. You thinking you're, you know, living your life. It's just, you can't imagine something going wrong, because what could go wrong? But then God do some old switcheroo, and you actually go down, and then it's your life, and it's gone, and it's sad. You know what I'm saying? But he left a hell of an impact. He did a lot of work. He left a lot of work. I remember watching him growing up, and I loved all his work. You know what I'm saying? You know, see, Tyrell said we all have our days, but don't live on bad vibrations. That's true, man. You gotta forgive, you gotta forget, and you gotta get going, and you gotta be happy, because you see, life could be so over now. And they say he was married, but he kept all those people quiet and private. So he had a real strict world. You know what I'm saying? They say he kept it quiet. He did private. He didn't. What's up in South Florida? So he's saying that he kept it private, so he didn't put his business out there. Nobody really know who he was married to or how she looked. I didn't know he was married at all. I thought he was single and solo, you know what I'm saying? But they say he got a kid who's probably about 6 years old right now. So ain't no telling what's going on. I don't know if Bill Cosby gonna say nothing. I'm gonna play this next news clip and see if they say something specific about Bill Cosby, because this is actually in Philly where Bill from. Let's go.
Warner, who played Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, has died. Warner drowned off the coast of Costa Rica yesterday while on a family vacation. Police in Costa Rica say Warner was caught by a high current in the water. Malcolm Jamal Warner starred in all 8 seasons of The Cosby Show as Theo Huxtable. He won an Emmy for his role as the only son of Bill Cosby's character, Cliff Huxtable. I spoke to Bill Cosby, of course, a long-time Montgomery County resident right here in the Delaware Valley. He remembered his young co-star with fondness.
And yet Malcolm Jamal Warner was still able to give life to the character you had in mind?
Very much so. Very, very much so. Malcolm, you could depend on Malcolm always going to the shelter to learn his lines, to gather his character, to come out and be ready. When news came, it was shocking. And of course my thoughts went straight to his mother, who worked so hard. And she was so wonderful with him.
Bill Cosby also sharing with me the humanity he remembers about Malcolm Jamal Warner. After The Cosby Show, Warner went on to star in several other shows, including the long-running medical drama, The Resident. Malcolm Jamal Warner leaves behind a wife and a daughter. He was 54 years old.
So we got a chance to hear directly from Bill Cosby talking about his young co-star son. And he did a good job playing that son. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was, you know, I had a dad at home and shit, and it wasn't as funny all the time. I got my ass beat many days. But seeing how bougie they were, and seeing how it was almost like a fun thing. Bill Cosby was a comedian, and so it was almost like ha ha ha, but it was not real. They wasn't real. My father did comedy too in high school and all that, but it was real life having a dad at home. And you fucked up, you got fucked up, and that's just what it was. But it taught you how to be a man and all these things that you know what come along with manhood, because you got it directly from your father. And a lot of people didn't have a father growing up. And a lot of people, sometimes we'd be on the basketball court and they'd be saying they had a dad, but they didn't. And you'd be like, damn, I ain't know that. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Sharice, yeah, that's sad, man. Yup. It's just really sad. But at the end of the day, he worked his ass off, putting a lot of game into the motherfucking work. And I think that's what we gonna remember him for. It's almost like when Kobe died, you could remember his game. You remember all the shit that he did, and I think that's the same thing going on with old boy, with bro. We're gonna remember his legacy, man. You know how long he worked at this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he put it to work, and that's the only way you gonna get to that level is if you work it like that. Because when he got chosen to be Bill Cosby's son, that's not easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I always would wonder what was that first interview like when he had to come and try to be Bill Cosby's son? Like, what was that like? Because obviously it was they didn't film it. You know, they didn't never show video too much about that. But and he got an interview from him from Entertainment News.
How does it feel, this sudden stardom?
It's great. I mean, it was nothing I was expecting. You know, you think for a long time about how you win a series, and you never really expect it to be a big success, but no one knew it would be this big.
What do you like best about doing the Cosby Show?
Probably the people that I work with. Even though you go to school and see these people every day, you're tired of seeing these people's faces, but going to the studio, it's not like that, because since working is fun to me, it's I don't consider it a job, it's still my hobby. So, getting paid to do something that's fun, and then, going to work and, you have these nice people here, I like it a lot.
How does it feel?
And that's dope, though, because, you could see how young in his face he was. I could approximate, he probably was about 16, so that means I was probably like 14. And, he could have been 15 at that time. Could have even been 17. But doing an interview at such a young years, in his childhood, you get a chance to see that this guy was really putting a little effort into his work. He was very, very eloquent. He could speak to all the news people, you know what I'm saying? And it probably was never no black people around him to ever, blend in with, because those rooms he was in the 80s, the 1980s. Come on. And then how much freaks and mental cases was out there trying to get on kids and do this type of weirdness to kids, and he had to be protected by Bill Cosby or protected by somebody else that was around him to be like, hey, holler at me over here, man, because you don't need to be around him, schooling him to the game so he don't get tricked into the Diddy parties and shit like that, thinking that I need to fit in with these people in order for me to move forward in my career. It's a lot of that you got to mentally be able to conquer, so that you're not walking around getting abused by people because they feel like, oh yeah, you want to get on this thing? Okay, I got you. And you sitting back like, yeah, I think this is going to help me pay my bills. And then you get there and it's like, what the, man, hold up, I'm not taking my pants off in this place. And it's like, this is what it is if you want to work here. Imagine having to navigate that and you 17, you 19, you 20, and this 1991, this 1994. This ain't even 2020, whatever, when they just started bringing all these rules and laws and out, and they bringing back crimes from people past. This way back then, if somebody did something to you or tried to do something to you, who you gonna tell? If you say anything to anybody, you done in Hollywood. So if those type of things happened to him, or he saw those type of things occurring around him, he had to hold that shit all the way to his death. So that's a level of professionalism and a level of sturdiness that you got to have. Because, some people be in Hollywood and you see them yourself, they be freaked out. They come back, they be mental cases, they be tattooed all over their body, or they be something like we religious, they go into God real heavy, and you be like, what happened? What did you see? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, we know what Mace was seeing with Diddy now. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps what made him want to go to religion. Because at that time, we would have thought he would like to be a rapper. But you see today what was going on, and it's like, oh, okay, damn, you just wasn't into that, and you was like, it's only one way out, and that's God. And that's how a lot of people would come from that if that's how you was trained and raised as a kid. But here go Theo, who all the stuff he was a child actor. Think about that. He was a child actor. You know what I mean? You got these big grown cameramen, big grown women coming around you, looking at you. She supposed to be the catering lady, and she's trying to give you some, and you're hearing like, oh, damn, I wasn't expecting, but this is the reality of it, because you're successful. So they looking at you like, you free food. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what he got on this next video.
So Bill Cosby has reacted to the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, stating that it feels just like when he lost his own son. Cosby's representative, Andrew Wyatt, tells TMZ when Bill got the call that Warner died on vacation in Costa Rica, it reminded him of being in the studio filming The Cosby Show in January 1997, when he got a call informing him that his son, Ennis Cosby, was shot dead in a failed robbery attempt. Wyatt says the news of Malcolm Jamal's death hit him the same way as Ennis's murder. The two used to play together when they were younger and were amazing together. Apparently, Bill last talked to Warner when he was excited about a big concert in Minneapolis and felt like he was changing the world. Bill also remembers the time Malcolm Jamal visited the Cosby family property in Massachusetts and made Bill's relatives laugh harder than ever. Overall, Bill said that he feels Malcolm made a lasting impact with his life and career that will continue to change the world, and he says every young man growing projects back in the day wanted to be like Warner and to have a family like the Huxtables.
That's another impact, man. You see that, and imagine your boys you grew up with. At first they talking about you like, man, you was on that silly ass show, man. Y'all wasn't right, man. That wasn't what it was, man. Get out of here. And then they get older and they start realizing what real life is and adulthood and raising families and having a, success story for themselves. And it's like, damn, man, you know what? I be thinking about what I saw on that show when you had this moment with Bill Cosby and your father. And it was many times when they wrote specific storylines just for Bill and the son. It was many times. And then obviously he had the navigation with the sisters and things of that nature. And I felt like the show should have never ended. But again, it's made up. It wasn't real. And it was so funny because it wasn't even, it was called, his name is Bill Cosby, but he was called Dr. Huxtable in the show. Dr. Huxtable in the show. But the show was called The Cosby Show. So if it's called The Cosby Show, why you call Dr. Huxtable? It's like your name already on the damn title. You're supposed to be Cosby in the damn show. But that's what made it funny and quirky and wonder, what the fuck what is he doing that? Why would he call it something different? All the kids call the Huxtables, but we watching The Cosby Show. You know what I'm saying? And then all my life, I never heard of nobody name the Huxtables. Or since that day till now, nobody has ever been named the Huxtables. You never ran inside the Social Security place and they were screaming out, the Huxtable, Mr. Huxtable, and nobody went up. It never was called out. So it's just funny how they created that show back in the 80s and it still had an impact today. And then you think about it when they play the reruns and all that stuff, and it was just so much stuff happening. You know what he said? Smile Joe say, move out the damn way. There you go. There you go right there, man. Shit. You getting aggressive, nigga. Damn. Let's watch this one. Well, that's just a video playing of
Well, the
him.
man who played Theo on the popular television series The Cosby Show in the 80s and 90s has died. Reports say Malcolm Jamal Warner died at the age of 54 after an accidental drowning during a family trip. The Cosby Show aired from 1984 to 1992 and was #1 for several years. Warner played the role of Theo. On that show, Malcolm Jamal Warner has died at the age of 54. Where the man who played Theo...
And that's crazy because imagine he passed away now. Imagine all of this media attention and all this stuff. He probably would have wanted this in his life. He probably would have been like, yo, I need the TV stations to be here. Check out what I'm doing right here. I got this organization, or I'm bringing out this new thing, and I need y'all to come promote it. And everybody would have been like, how much money you got? All right, we ain't coming. But obviously, in death, everybody got to show you love and give you flowers. And just, know that it's going to be a time where you ain't never coming back. And it's going to be sad, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, all you're going to have of him and everybody. That's what the internet is today. It's like, no more not having a historical legacy or historical footprint. Like we'll all have a trail. And it's only because the internet exists, because it's two existences. Obviously, you got the real world. Like, I can touch things right here. Like, it's the real world. And then it's the world inside the digital area where you can be whoever you want to be. You can be whatever you want to be. And TV already was like that. Hollywood was already like that. When, people took the bus to Greyhounds to Hollywood, got out and was homeless or got picked up by wrong people. People were trying to become somebody. But today, you can just put the camera on yourself and you can become somebody. So people like him who had a legacy from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, they become obscure because now it's just a big gigantic cesspool. There's so many people. It's an ocean of 1 billion fish. So which one are you? You're a whale? You're a guppy? You're whatever you are. It really don't matter what you are because we all in the water. We all in the fish. And whatever somebody like, they're going to pick what they like. So they don't have the same impact no more. So that can make them kind of feel a little less, like I got to go be dumb. I got to go be skits. I got to do some stupid shit in order for me to keep my name registered. I want to keep my legacy strong. My kids going to be able to show that my dad never did those disrespectful movies. My dad never played a slave. My dad never beat a woman in a movie. My dad, whatever his characterizations was that he put out, you know what I'm saying? But did he play it too safe? Sometimes you think about the Theo of the world, and in my brain I say, I think he played it too safe. It's like, what was you hiding? What was you waiting for? Tubi is here. You can make all the movies you want to. You can tell any story you want to. You can get a camera. You already know what it's like. You've been in Hollywood for 40 years. You know what it's like to be behind the scenes. You know what it's like to work with a director, work with a cameraman. Yourself, you can do it yourself. So, but sometimes I don't know, do they have it in them? Maybe it's too much work. Maybe they're too busy. Maybe that ain't just what they care about, but I be thinking like, damn, why don't they in all these decades, you never did it yourself. You never did, you know, maybe they waiting on this big thing to happen, so they want to keep their name at a certain level of, you know, respectability and prestige. Like, you just don't know. You know what I'm saying? But as you in my own mind, I'm thinking like, as a kid, if that was me, man, I'd be over there. You just said that 1,000 times. Man, if that was me, I'd be, and you know, you just saying shit, really, because if it was you, would you be? You just don't know. It's just, you know, but I don't know if he played it too safe. Y'all gotta let me know in the comment section.
I played around with it.
Some of that music be playing be too damn sad to be trying to watch. Theo situation is like, okay, y'all playing all that, you know, really, really sad music and shit like that. And I know it's a tragedy and all that stuff, but, you know, it's really horrible that, you know what I mean, that he had to go out like that, you know what I'm saying? Because we definitely was fans of him. Everybody rocked with him. A lot of people was more fans of him than he probably even knew, because again, with the internet out there, if people aren't looking at you, if you're not on their radar, they can't necessarily hit you and say, yo, you the best, man. I love you. It's like, I'm watching 50 Cent video, I'm watching BMF, or I'm watching somebody YouTube, or I gotta go to a concert myself. Like, I'm not paying attention to the 80s guys. It's like, you still gotta keep reinventing yourself. You gotta do something to make me interested in you. And then what's that gonna be? Like, what is it? What's the thing that you can do to make somebody interested in you in the latter part of your life? Let's see this video right here. This looks like somebody got some crazy information going on with him. This one. They might play a commercial first, because you know what YouTube is about, and they are. So it's a fast one though. All right, let's see what they got over here. Bam.
Yo. Right. These protests getting bigger. Protests happening globally. New Zealand showed up today. Paris showed up. Never before that I can remember in my lifetime has there been so much.
Let's get back to it.
In an accidental drowning while on a family vacation in Costa Rica, Warner rose to national fame in the 1980s, playing the witty and lovable son of Bill Cosby's character, Cliff Huxtable. His performance earned him an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a comedy series. He remained a central figure on The Cosby Show for all 8 seasons, growing up on screen as the show became one of television's most influential sitcoms. Born in New Jersey, Warner's passion for acting led him to enroll in a performing arts school in New York City. He landed the role of Theo on the very last day of NBC's national auditions, personally chosen by Bill Cosby. Beyond The Cosby Show, Warner starred in several television projects, including Malcolm and Eddie opposite Eddie Griffin, the BET sitcom Read Between the Lines, and FX's Sons of Anarchy, where he played the role of Sticky.
Yeah, see, a lot of those other shows that he worked on, I didn't catch.
Recently,
I didn't catch it. But he said he had a podcast called All Hood. No, not All Hood. So I guess he was trying to convey that not all black people are hood, which he stood for that. As a man, I respect that. You know, now I'm an older person, from being 12 years old watching him on TV to today, and it's like, I respect that, because there's no retirement for a hood attitude or hood characterization, or, you know, it's obviously entertainment value in it, but most times in life you're gonna eventually become that. You know what I'm saying? You have to eventually get a parent, get a wife, get a family, get a kid. You know, you're not gonna be living like that for the rest of your life. You're not. It's more like a theme or a thing that you know about and you participate in, or it's just more like an environment. You know what I mean? Like, some of these neighborhoods and things like that, you don't control them. You didn't go over there and design them and say this should be here first and this should be there. It's just what the environment is, and then people have a word describing it. But this is what he didn't like, and I think that was what, from the Bill Cosby psychology or school of attitude, like, hey, you know what? That's not what black men are. We're more like this. And Bill Cosby exuded that character. He showcased that so much. But then obviously in all of our latter years, they came out with his personal endeavors, and a lot of people was calling him out for shit he did. You know what I'm saying? So whether they was telling the truth or not, that was before my time. I don't know. You know, we know celebrities get girls, and we know girls that do anything for people with a lot of money. Bill Cosby was at the billionaire status, so a lot of time he was married, and a lot of those people knew he was married, but that didn't stop them from pursuing in either direction. But it turned out bad for him, and that led down a lot more guys like that. Even Tyler Perry at this point is going down the same pipeline, because the things that they after, or the things that they want, money can't provide it. Money is supposed to be the access to all that shit, but it seemed like they don't be picking the right people with the money they got, you know what I'm saying, for some reason. So, you know, that made Malcolm have to keep a distance from Bill Cosby, and a hefty distance, because it took a long time for that shit to play out. First they put the shit all over TV dissing him, you know, and then after the campaign went on for 1 or 2 years, then they came at him and was like, "You're arrested." Then he had to deal with being arrested, Bill Cosby sitting up in the jail. Then he had to go and deal with being convicted, and then he had to get convicted. Then he had to sit in there and do time. So all of this time playing out, they not playing the Bill Cosby show on TV. They not letting Malcolm Jamal get interviews. Malcolm Jamal not being able to go and get movies booked, because anything he do is connecting the production straight to Bill Cosby, because he was the kid. Even though he had did so many projects in his future life, he was still proverbially connected to Bill Cosby, even though he had nothing to do with Bill Cosby. He didn't even have shit to do with Bill Cosby when he was accused of the things he was doing. He was a fucking kid. It was before his time. But the way it worked, it was all connected to him. Then they wasn't paying him. So if they're not playing the show on TV Land or whatever kind of syndication thing they got going on, you're not getting a check. So now it's like, okay, damn, I was probably looking forward for that little dough. It was paying my rent. It was paying my condo. It was, you know, getting my dog shit or whatever. But it's gone now. You know what I'm saying? Because of what this situation is with Bill. And it might not never come back, because they might be having Bill under this scenario forever. You know, what do I know? So he had to deal with a lot. You know what I'm saying? Just being associated with Bill Cosby, and Bill Cosby being such a big magnet of an artist. And then for decades, Bill Cosby was big in the 50s and 60s. You know, this is like, no, we wasn't even doing shit at that time. He could have been later on, but my whole point of it is that he's been a success story fucking 50, 60, 70 years. You know what I'm saying? So what can Malcolm Jamal want to do? He had to sit back and watch that shit like the rest of us. He probably had to watch that go out and then not even go visit Bill Cosby in jail. Imagine that. This your mentor. This the motherfucker who taught you everything. He was the father figure in your life, but you can't even go visit him in his worst moment. You can't even go down to the prison and be like, I'm finna go see him. Because if you pop in, it's the cameras hitting you up. Everybody like, yo, guess who down here? Oh, damn, you fuck with him? You trying to say he cool? No, he my mentor. I'm just trying to talk to him, man. He needs somebody right now. No, fuck that, man. He ain't shit. You down there, you ain't getting no job with us no more. No, I ain't doing that. I'm just saying, dude showed me a lot, man. He gave me my first chance when I was a kid. All right, cool, fuck you. And he like, okay, I don't want that to happen. So, look, Bill, when you ever get your shit together, we'll get together. And then, you know, Bill Cosby got through it. But you have to think that that could be, you know what I'm saying, something he just probably had to go through as a younger artist, not controlling the image of your image or their image. Like, you don't have control of none of this shit. You just trying to get jobs. You know what I'm saying? And whatever happened, happened. But as far as you're concerned, if they call you, you're going to show up. You ain't did nothing bad. You know what I'm saying? But imagine the rest of them too. You know, I remember I even heard old girl Vanessa is dating old boy from that TV show. She dating the other guy who was on one of Bill Cosby's other shows. You know what I'm saying? He executive produced, because he was making moves back then. Boy, I'm talking about. But he couldn't pass the buck. See that? And like you said, Bill Cosby's son died. So you know, normally when you become such a success story in any game, you could pass it to your kids. It's just how it goes. Especially billionaire status, $100 million. Come on, who can stop you? You can pass it to your kid. But Bill Cosby kid died. He got murdered. He got shot on the side of a road back in the day. It was all on TV. That was his only son. So he couldn't really pass it to him. You understand what I'm saying? Now, his relationship with Malcolm Jamal Warner was probably more professional, and it wasn't necessarily a real father, but this is what we, you know, in TV, that's what we saw. But in real life, it probably was really just a business relationship. And so he couldn't come and say, hey, your son gone, you think you want to take me as a son? Now, I don't know what that was like, but it obviously didn't turn out to be like that, because they went their own separate ways. He had to be a man and go find his own way. He couldn't sit up under Bill Cosby. Hey, give me some more jobs, man. You ain't gave me a job in 3 years. He had to go find his own way. So, you know, let's see what else they got in this video real quick.
You were at the forefront of the black family that changed the way America looked at black people?
It was amazing because no one expected it.
You never think it's gonna hit number one. I mean, we soared straight to the top.
It was a wonderful thing, making history in the moment.
Malcolm was reportedly on vacation with his wife and 8-year-old daughter in Costa Rica and accidentally drowned when a rip current dragged him deeper into the ocean. The police report says onlookers at the beach tried to help, but Red Cross workers declared him lifeless and his body was sent to the morgue. His last public appearance, June 11th, at SiriusXM Studios in New York.
What did I do now?
Malcolm was best known for playing Bill Cosby's son, Theo Huxtable, on all 8 seasons of The Cosby Show.
When people see this, they gonna know they dealing with the man.
How does it feel, this sudden stardom?
It's great. The women of today haven't met the man of tomorrow.
E.T. first met a 15-year-old Malcolm in 1985. The show spent 5 consecutive seasons at number 1.
There was so much criticism about the show in terms of, oh, well, you know, black people don't really live like that. But then at the same time, I'm getting all of this fan mail from people who are like, thank you. My dad is a doctor. My mom is a lawyer. You know, my family, we are the Huxtables. It was just such a movement where being black was beautiful.
We're the Huxtables and you're watching Entertainment Tonight.
During like really formative years, we really all kind of had to be there, you know, supporting each other. So we all have this, I think, a really strong bond.
Malcolm went on to star in several other TV shows and movies, most recently 911, Suits, and The Resident. E.T. was with him on set in 2022 as he was doing double duty.
Well, my first day of directing here, it was very natural and very organic. Mind you, I'm in probably 75% of the episode, so it requires wearing 2 hats. I've got a pretty good natural feel for the tone and movement of the show. It sounds cliche, but it's a joy to come to work.
In 2016, he portrayed O.J. Simpson's friend Al Cowlings for Ryan Murphy's The People vs. O.J. Simpson American Crime Story.
I definitely jumped at the chance to be a part of it when I got the phone call. So yes, I want to be a part of that. You know, I want to be a part of how Ryan Murphy is going to tell the story.
His latest venture, the podcast Not All Hood, with a mission to break down mental health barriers in the black community. The latest episode posted just 3 days ago. Now, Hollywood is paying tribute to the Emmy-nominated actor, his resident co-star Morris Chestnut, calling him one of the nicest guys in the business. A speechless Jamie Foxx writing, "Rest in power, my brother," and Niecy Nash revealing she just spoke to Malcolm. Quote, "We talked about how happy we both were in our marriages."
Whose artwork is behind you?
Yeah, my daughter's artwork, and then her work is all over the house. We're all in a really good place, and we also, I mean, you know, we such a constant state of gratitude. There's still so much to be grateful for.
And that was a dope little tribute to him right there, man. You see a lot of people respected him, and he left a serious impact in the game. And then he was directing and shit. And I remember he was saying he was directing a lot of the stuff he was doing with Eddie Griffin and all that. He was grinding, you know what I'm saying, and staying steady. You know what I'm saying, staying steady. In order to be in the industry all those years and not have no big bogus statements coming out about you, no wrong stuff that's putting your name in a bad light. That right there is hard to do. You know, for 30 years, come on, 1980 something. It's people who was born in 1986. I think they like, what, 38, 39, 40 or some shit like that right now? Like, they big ass people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was born at that point. Like, and fucking grown as shit. They got kids. You understand what I'm saying? Who probably watched this guy, and that was his acting debut at 15. And I'm 2 years younger than him, so I mean, I'm 13. You know, I'm not on TV, obviously. I'm a little kid. But you could see me being a filmmaker in my future life, being inspired and influenced by him. Because he's literally on TV, and he's the only one you could see. So it wasn't like another, I think, you know, at that time, they would be doing reruns of shit like The Little Rascals, and there was a dude on there called, like, fucking not, damn, I forgot his damn name. But he had like afro and shit. This was the black motherfucker on TV, you know, and it was very rare. And you would see like George Jefferson on TV at this time, and what's the old dude? Sanford and Son was on TV at this time, and this like old men, you know, and you was in the crib laughing at this shit because that was what the fuck was on TV. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it was a kid that you was watching. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure digging in my brain trying to figure out what kid was on fucking TV. Oh, Different Strokes. The little short nigga, Buckwheat, yup, Fourth Horseman, you hit him on the head, bro. Different Strokes, but dude was a grown man. Like, we was kids, he was a short dude on Different Strokes. But then when they was saying he was a grown-up, but he had a growth issue, it was like, wait a minute, so he wasn't a kid like me? What the fuck you mean? Like, yeah, that nigga was grown, like 18, but he had a motherfucking growth issue. You like, I never fucking would have known some shit like that. But this is what our reality was of watching media as kids. You know what I'm saying? So you fast forward today and you see where somebody like him lost his life, and he's done a lot to entertain and work, and then being behind the scenes, and then they was hiring him on jobs so he could be as a director, which he knew how to direct because he'd been fucking working in Hollywood since he was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So he knew his stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just proud of him, man. I'm glad he put such a what's up, Justin? I'm glad he put such a great impact in the industry, that he was such a dope ass actor. He showcased his talent. He didn't let nothing stop him, and even working steadily from the time in 1986 all the way to 2020. I don't know how many years it is. Is it 40 altogether? Because it'll be next year. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of fucking years that you've been working and grinding your life around. You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying? Wait, what the fuck? I just said hi to you, my guy. Hey, but anyway, the real deal is hit the like button for me, show me some love. I've been rocking with y'all for 80 minutes. We celebrating Malcolm Jamal Warner because he really was an impact in my life as a kid growing up. He was directly my age. He was exactly my older brother age. Rest in peace, my older brother. But he was exactly my older brother age. But at that time, I didn't know. You know, I'm thinking, I knew Vanessa seemed like she was more my age exactly, but she could be younger too, but I'm not sure. But at that time, you know, I'm seeing Theo was the only guy on the show. And then they had that other dude was on the show. I forgot his name, like the, what was that guy? He was like the boyfriend of the sister early on, you know what I'm saying? And so it was just really, it was a dope ass show, man. And I'm just glad I was a fan of it, and I watched it all the time. I was a fan of that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Here goes somebody else on Extra TV. We gonna let them hit the click and see what they say. Well, pause. We gonna click it. They're gonna push a commercial. No, they ain't gonna do no commercial on this one. Oh yeah, actually that is a fucking
brand new immersive experience. We've got 4 incredible
get that shit out of here. Get that shit out of here. All right, let's get back to it.
Dad, can I have an advance on my allowance?
Son, you're already backed up to your 50th birthday.
He grew up in front of the camera in our living rooms as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Now, in truly shocking and awful news, Malcolm Jamal Warner is dead at 54. TMZ breaking the news. Sources telling the site that his death was the result of an accidental drowning. People magazine confirms that news, reporting that he was on a family vacation to Costa Rica and drowned while swimming. Just 3 days ago, Malcolm dropped a new episode of his podcast, Not All Hood.
We are talking about a playing field that has historically been uneven.
We spoke to him in April as he was joining the cast of Alert Missing Persons Unit with Scott Kahn mid-season.
But you always check the vibe of the number one person in the call sheet, the number one who sets the tone. Scott is really cool.
Malcolm also starred on The Resident and way back in Malcolm and Eddie. But it was his time as Theo Huxtable that forever cemented his place in American pop culture.
Justine.
But even after Bill Cosby's conviction of sexual assault, Malcolm told us in 2021 that The Cosby Show's legacy should not be tarnished forever.
I think Keisha Napoleon really said it best. The significant social impact that the show had It cannot be reversed. You know, you got, you know, generations of kids who have gone on to pursue higher education because of the Cosby Show. You got a generation of, you know, kids who've gone out and have created their own loving whole families because they were influenced from that show.
Malcolm was also a musician. He even won a Grammy in 2015 and talked about his passion on the red carpet.
Because we grew up with you in one way, and now here you are in a whole other way. I've got 2 CDs out with my jazz funk band, and I'm coming out with the third.
Most importantly, though, Malcolm was a husband and a father. When his daughter was just 4, he told us he was wrapped around her finger.
Yeah. She's definitely daddy's little girl.
Malcolm Jamal Warner was just 54 years old.
He died young, man, and you don't realize how young that is until you realize you got all your physical body is normal. You could jump, you could run, you're not in pain, you ain't aching. You know, like when you're young, you be thinking like, oh man, body broke down. Like, no, it's not really like that. You actually be healthy as shit. And you could do anything anybody else could do. You probably can't do it as long. You probably couldn't run as far, but you could do it. Maybe in 10 more years you couldn't. Maybe 5 more years you couldn't. But I mean, it's not as what you assume when you're younger. But damn, he gone. So jumping in the water, going for a swim, and bam. And I was even thinking to myself early in the podcast, I said, what if he would have stayed at the beach? I mean, the swimming pool at the hotel. Like you in Costa Rica, they got a dope-ass hotel with a dope-ass pool. You could have just set up in there and been like, y'all go to the beach, I'm chilling. Not even thinking that this going to be your last day alive, but it happened to be. Because then he go over to the water and some fucking Costa Rican fucking, what the fuck? And it just take him, and it's like, damn, a current. Nobody could fight a current, but we hearing about it like it was a current. This thing could have been a motherfucking 30-foot fucking. It could have been a 30-foot wave, and everybody like, oh my god, did anybody film that? You know what I'm saying? It could have been anything. It could have been a smaller wave. It was just the level of the strength of the water coming so fast, and then it's like, I'm yanked. It ain't a second to yell. You can't be like, ah. It's like you just underwater. You know what I'm saying? It could have been something that came from underneath him and swooped up on his feet and knocked him back, and now he's just underwater now. Like, damn, let me get back up. But it's up as forever. You can't make it back up to it. Like, it's like you just can't. And then again, you don't go to the pool. You like don't go to the beach. You just stay at the pool. You like, I'm going to the pool, and you could even in the pool you could die. You could swim in the pool and a little. My father used to say that a little drop of water this big could kill you. In that big gigantic ocean, the ocean is fucking huge, and a drop of water this big can kill you because it could lodge into your throat the wrong way and you go. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what you up against is something like that. But again, he could have been sitting at dinner inside the hotel and said, I'm not going to a fucking beach, and drowned or choked on some food or water, and still could have been gone just the same. So it's no way of knowing what's the right, or was it the right moment for him, or is he gone too soon? It's just when God decides that it's your time. It's nothing nobody can do or say. It's just going to be, we could talk about how it happened, like it happened like this, or it was that, they hard, or it was something about them and this happened, and it's like, man, but we can't, you know, so Steve-O showed his head. Hey, that is so fucking funny. See, I like that joke right there. That just made me die laughing because that's so opposite of this guy. Like, he said, for real, G. Like, this nigga said he could have been a backdoor child. Hey, that's so opposite. He literally had a podcast called I'm Not Hood, or Not All Hood. Like, nothing back there with this nigga. Nobody did nothing. This nigga, only way he could have died is if it was an accident in Costa Rica. Like, it's none of that other stuff. That shit was really funny because when you hear about, those guys, I remember watching them growing up, you just knew that they wasn't like that. They not from the hood. I don't know if he wasn't from the hood in New Jersey, but I'm just saying that he was really able to become a man as a guy who just did not identify with that. He didn't fuck with hip hop. He wasn't in none of the party. He didn't kick it with Diddy and them. These nigga ain't no rapper who ever came out. Did you see Michael Jamal Warner standing with his ass like this nigga next up? He never did that in the history of rap. He just wasn't into that, you know. And then when you hear his podcast was Not All Hood, it's like, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, like, this nigga was really not into that. Not all hood. I mean, the guys that talk like that, the guys that be like that, you be like, whoa, what the fuck wrong with this nigga? Not all hood. What's wrong? What's wrong with hood shit? Like, why you don't like them? And they really do have a good reason for themselves about it. Like, man, fuck that. I don't like it, nigga. You see how they just did motherfucking Carnival, the Carnival Cruise, man? Fuck, niggas, I can't stand. You be like, damn, straight up. Over the Carnival Cruise, you just like, fuck niggas. So, you sure he might have been at a Puffy party. You never know. But I don't think he did. Not like that, man. Dude was straight and narrow, bro. And it's guys like that. It's guys like that. They ain't in none of that. They ain't doing none of that shit, man. They ain't drinking shit. They ain't partying. They don't give a fuck about nobody. Whoever you fuck with, they don't fuck with. Whoever you rock with, they don't fuck with. Yeah, rest in peace to him. That's why I always respected him, because he never left that. Like when he was rocking like that, he stayed like that. He was like that from 1986 to 2000, damn near 26. He kept it loving. You gotta respect a person that's who they are. They're not coming in here to try to blend in with the shit. Oh, damn, they're going to be at the New Year's thing. Let me go there. However he survived in his psychology of being an artist and being a media personality, he stood tall on it. He didn't come to them people and try to kick it. You didn't see him do a podcast. He ain't doing skits and shit in the sideline trying to, blow up on YouTube and TikTok. He just stayed steady. Like, you know what? I'm going to work on these shows. They hired me to do this, you know what I'm saying? They give me this license to direct and produce, I'm doing my thing and I'm going home. And he stayed like that. He didn't slap chicks around. He didn't get no robberies. He wasn't having fights at barbecues and you hearing the shit. It wasn't shootouts. His nephew and them, they get caught up in nothing and he got to come. This dude was straight up clean his whole time. He never did nothing foul. And again, how do you do that in Hollywood? Diddy and them couldn't be in there 30 months without them niggas doing what they did. He was able to get that door and stay down and stay straight. And so that's not easy to do, you know what I'm saying? And so I respect it, yo. I respect it, man. So, but I'm going to jump off this podcast right now, man. I want y'all to like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Run them up some more. Definitely hit at the top right there. There's going to be a video up at the end so y'all can watch it and check out more. And we'll be back on here with some dope shit to kick it with y'all again in a minute. Could you move to the side for a second, please? You got it, Xavier. Yo, go ahead and take a last little glimpse of bro. You know what I'm saying? I'll cut the sound off so y'all could just
Drug discovery tools powered by Dell AI Factory with NVIDIA.
David and Tamala Mann react to news that Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away.
How do people can, I guess they can look and guess.
Y'all can locate us?
No, I don't want to locate us.
But it's a
We just been chilling, hiding out.
Yeah, but I'm having fun with my boyfriend. I told my boyfriend yesterday, thank you for bringing me out of town.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
So, but it's been great. It's been great.
Just been chilling.
If y'all can, take some time for you, even though we have to work, y'all. Make sure you take some time for yourself, even if it's a staycation.
Right.
Take some time for yourself because you'll get all worked and blowed out.
Yeah.
And that's when everybody get on your nerves.
And I'm relaxed. And I'm ready to work, man. How's Tia? Tia's doing great.
She's doing good.
She's doing great. Y'all look out for
Orlando.
Man Family Dinners coming soon.
Man TV. Subscribe to Man TV.
Yeah.
And I'm coming with some recipes. I've been sitting around getting my recipes together. And I'm gonna come back on live. I'm gonna come back on live. And y'all can give me some ideas of what y'all think I should cook.
Oh, some great recipes. Yeah.
Give me some of y'all greatest recipes for me to cook. I'm gonna come back live.
Hey, Chicago in the house.
Hey, Chicago, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do some of y'all. Minneapolis, hi.
What is this about Malcolm Jamal? I don't believe stuff on the internet.
Yeah, because people are lying. They lying so much. I don't know anything about nobody.
Unless it's from a reliable source.
Hey, North Carolina.
Do a cookbook.
I'm working on it.
So
I'm gonna do better. I was inspired this morning. I'm gonna be a better. Amen. Praise God. I gotta do better. Hey, Baltimore. So it's just a lot, but it's like we trying to concentrate on one thing, and you got 1, 2, 3 things. One thing, 2 things, 3 things for sure. I've got to get myself together so we can go. All right, I'm rapping this morning. All right.
Who are you?
I don't know.
MC Sugar.
Oh, I'm mad. My name is
Just
on
some
the porch.
people on the balcony. Okay, y'all.
Look at me on the porch.
We are.
This is a balcony. I'm talking about on the porch.
Greetings from Mansfield, Texas.
Hey, Mansfield. Greetings, neighbor. Hey, Dallas, Texas. Hey, y'all, but this is great. But we love you guys. We want to let y'all know we still together. We're not divorcing. I pray the Lord give us many, many more years together.
Right.
And keep us healthy. Hey, California, Mexico. Keep us healthy so we can keep Indiana, so we can just keep going and keep hopefully being a blessing to you and your family. Because we just want to be a blessing to God and be a blessing to His people. We love y'all. God bless y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the movie. I really did. It's really about fun. Hey, Memphis, Tennessee. But this is great.
And TMZ did confirm. I gotta go look at all the stuff that they got out here by us. I gotta make sure. I gotta confirm it before I even.
Brazil. What's up, Brazil? I've never been to Brazil.
So you can see for a lot of people that's just unheard of. It's like Malcolm Jamal Warner. Like what? How would he die? What's going on? And it had to be a real freak accident for anything to be confirmed. It was hella sad for the guy and his family. He had a little daughter, man. Imagine that, man. A little baby girl with no dad. And there's nothing nobody can do about it. It's like dad gone. You know what I'm saying? So, but you love your parents and you love your family and everybody. I'm sure, I hope that it wasn't true, but there's nothing nobody can do about it because when God called you, that's it. And there's a lot of people reacting to it. Like, man, there's so many people reacting to it right now, man. It's like, let's see what No More Talk got to say about it, because I always rock with No More Talk.
To get started,
gotta do the commercial first. Keep Cold say he used to hang with Belle Biv DeVoe. He was a snap.
Willie D.
But he probably did, though, fuck around back in the 80s.
What's up, family? Malcolm Jamal Warner tragically passed away from accidental drowning on July 20, 2025, while vacationing with his family at Playa Cocos on Costa Rica's Caribbean coast. Local authorities said he was caught in a strong rip current and, despite bystanders' efforts, was found unresponsive and later pronounced dead by the Costa Rican Red Cross due to asphyxia from drowning. Now, the question is, could his death have been prevented? Absolutely. Rip currents are strong, narrow currents that flow from the shore out to the sea. They're common and they can pull swimmers away from safety quickly. When faced with a rip current, you should swim parallel to the ocean or to the beach, not trying to go through, not trying to swim forward or even backwards. You're supposed to swim parallel to the beach. That's the way it goes. And I know this, fam, because I've been looking at these type of tragedies for decades. Starting when I was in middle school, I would hear about people drowning, and I was like, damn, that can't happen to me. I'm not gonna let that happen to me. So one of the first things that I started doing, though, was just making sure that I just respect the ocean, respect the waters, respect those currents, those waves.
And I was stopping right there because when you think about what he said, all that shit's legitimately true. But when you're on a vacation out with your wife or your kids or your girlfriend or whatever, and the last thing you're thinking is safety first. The last thing you're thinking is, do I have, what's that thing you put on? You know, the lifeguard bubble and shit is supposed to keep you from being taken under. People probably even die with that shit on, because you could have it as faulty. You could have it, you coming from another country. Do you travel with your shit? Do you put that in your bag before you travel out the country and be like, well, shit, we might be getting in the water. Let me make sure I take my life jacket. So all of these things is something that's kind of after the fact. Do you just go out there with a fucking life jacket, with that circle thing that they put on, and then you just walk out there with that shit on the whole time? Like, I'm scared as fuck in this water. You know what I'm saying? People laughing at you like, what the fuck wrong with that man? Like, I ain't finna get yanked in this motherfucking water. You just can't imagine it's gonna happen to you, or even nobody you know. You know what I'm saying? My little brother had a party, well, went to a party, and he took a kid that his girl had a kid, grandkid, and he took a kid, and the kid almost drowned at this person's party. And they obviously, the person had a lifeguard at the party, so the lifeguard was able to save the kid. But imagine if that person didn't, and it was just a regular old party, everybody at the pool. It could have been a tragedy. But this could happen, it's just a fucking child. And things can happen with kids, and it was luckily nothing happened. But again, when you talk about a grown-up, how can you know something gonna happen? It's far-fetched. You on a plane, you traveling, you got your shit, you making sure you got your things you need, and you making sure it's safety for your family, that they're gonna be moving right where they get there, all of the directions y'all gonna go to, we got the how we gonna get there when we leave it. It's all logistics. You're not thinking of some tragic stuff could happen. You know what I mean? And then, you know, what do you do? I heard a YouTube story about a man who took his wife on one of those Carnival cruises. It wasn't Carnival though, it was a cruise. And they went on a cruise, and she had a heart attack while they were out to sea. And when, obviously, they were in the older days, and he was like, well, went to the people, like, she having a heart attack. The machines they had wasn't up to par. The people really don't even know how to work them, because they boat people. And then they told him to take $15,000 cash for you to call the people to come get her and take her to the hospital. He like, I ain't no damn cash on a fucking cruise. And they like, well, they said it took them 2 hours to talk to the people to say he got to swipe for it or he got to use a credit card. Meanwhile, your wife had a heart attack sitting on a boat dying, you know, and then when they came, they didn't even bring a plane or a helicopter. They bought another boat. So a smaller boat. So now she got to jump up and down on the fucking ocean to the damn hospital or safety, and she had another heart attack on the damn boat riding away. So they had to call him back and say she gone. And it's like, Because we got on this fucking cruise. What the fuck just happened? So he crying his ass off on the video I watched, and I was just sad. But it's like, you can't predict none of it. Now, would that have happened if they had a staycation? Hey, let's just go downtown and rent the damn hotel down here and catch an Uber and shit. You know, whatever. But, you know, you just can't predict none of these things.
Walk out into the ocean where the water gets halfway to my knees. If it's halfway to my knees, I'm in too deep. I'm getting the hell up out of there. I love the water, I love the beach, but I don't love it that much. One of the best ways to avoid a tragedy like this is to heed the warning signs. Those beach flags, they often indicate danger. Avoid swimming in flag red zones or unguarded beaches. When I see an unguarded beach, that is my signal to stay far away from that water, because the less amount of beach guards you have, lifeguards you have, the less likely, you know, if something bad happens, you're gonna survive. So you gotta respect the water, man. You gotta respect the water at all times. Now, Eddie Griffin, who played on Malcolm and Eddie, co-starring with Malcolm Jamal Warner, he dropped a post on his Instagram stories, and this is what it read: "My big little brother, R.I.P. King." Yeah, man, R.I.P. King. Malcolm Jamal Warner, one of the good dudes in Hollywood, and I'm telling you, fam, it's hard to find some good dudes in Hollywood.
That's exactly what I was saying, because this guy had to have some kind of level of personal respect for himself to not get hooked up with the wrong crowd, because you know it's a many group of dudes and people out there that's on the wild side, and if you connect with the wrong folks, it could be a bad thing for you. But he wanted a good name, and you see he was able to keep his, obviously his wife was probably not a Hollywood person, because she probably wouldn't have wanted to be quiet about it. She probably wouldn't have been like, hey, we need to go to the Hollywood people and tell them that we married, and you know, just because that's how it is, you know what I'm saying, that particular industry. But he didn't do that. He kept it quiet, he kept it private, and he kept himself a respectable legacy to leave behind, you know what I'm saying? And that's not easy to do. You know, he worked his ass off trying to keep a name, and it worked for him, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think I'm gonna go ahead and officially get off of here now. All right, so I peace out y'all right now, and like and subscribe and check the video at the minute. And Benito, you bogus, I ain't trying to listen to you. See, I was just about to close this fucking thing out till you just smoked me with that. You smoked me, Benito. Stop doing shit like that, man. You know what, man? You bogus as hell for that one. I was having a fucking good night until you said that shit. Hey, he passed, man. He had died from a Showtime, and he died from a out in Costa Rica, out on the ocean, and he got picked up by a rip current. And they say the rip current come from the fucking beach side out. Some kind of weird shit like this. I'm old dog. Damn. I take old dog. Now come on, that's from my ear right there. I fucks with old dog. I can rock with old dog all day. But hit the like button, man. Thank y'all. Oh, let me see. You know, the clout chasing. Okay, let me see. Chicks moving and said some shit already about you know, people trying to clout chase off of this guy dying. Nobody really knew him like that. Ain't nobody gonna be front like he did something bogus or had some kind of salacious relationship. They lying, man. You know, and we all know that nigga didn't do none of that. He kept his name legit the entire time. That's just who he is. You know what I'm saying? We know that about him. All right, I'm trying to watch Chicks Move real quick, but he got a long ass intro.
What is currently getting cooked right now on social media. Now, first and foremost, rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner. Everybody all knows him as Theo from The Cosby Show. Very unfortunate news came out today that he actually passed away while he was in Costa Rica on a family vacation. So I definitely want to send my prayers out to his family. Now, as you guys know, anytime somebody in the culture passes away, there's always tension. People are always on edge. There's always a bunch of mixed emotions throughout the day. Now, 2 months ago, Melissa Ford from the Joe Budden podcast actually interviewed Malcolm Jamal. It was actually a great interview. If you guys have not seen it yet, make sure you guys go to Hot and Bothered to go check it out. They talked about his career, his family life, being a husband. People that did not know much about Malcolm actually got to learn a lot about him through this interview, which ironically is the reason why people are pissed off at Melissa Ford. Now, fans were quick to notice that after the news dropped of him passing away, Melissa Ford and her team quickly changed the title of the interview from Surviving Fame, Finding Love, and the Bill Cosby Effect to Malcolm Jamal Warner's final interview on fame, love, and legacy. People are accusing Melissa Ford of trying to profit from his death, claiming that Melissa Ford only changed the title of the interview to gain more views, which...
Let me just stop real quick and say that's dumb as hell. Why would she not change the interview title if this is the last time he ever had an interview with anybody before he passed away? Come on, this is stupid. Let's get back to it.
Equals more money. Now, this is what DJ Vlad has been getting called out for many years. Anytime a rapper that Vlad has interviewed passes away, Vlad is always quick to put up a throwback interview with the person, sometimes before the family even gets the news of their loved one's passing, which Vlad has always defended himself, saying, hey, listen, people are going to be searching for this guy. And I think that my interview with that person gives people a whole new perspective about them. And it also helps people to learn a little bit more about the person that passed away. Big Nate from the JBTV community was not too happy with Melissa Ford. She said, Melissa fucking Ford, this is absolutely disgusting. You the type of people Joe be talking about who wait until people die to either profit off of it or bring up something nasty from their past that has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Now, you also had people defending Melissa as well. Somebody said it's not nasty work if it was his final interview. People would be and are interested in what his last public words on another platform might have been, plus his final appearances in general. Helps people find it more than anything, which I told you guys earlier is the same thing DJ Vlad says. Now, to me personally, this is absolutely nasty. If you wanted to make it known that this was indeed his final interview, there's other ways you can go about this. And plus, people are already finding this interview organically. So you did not need to change it to the final interview. Because this was done 2 months ago, you have no clue if he recorded another interview after that, which also is another reason why this looks clout chasey. At least wait until maybe next week, maybe even until after next month before you can call it his final interview. Joe Budden tweeted out in reaction to the title change saying shaking my head, and Ian, Joe's manager, also denied having anything to do with it. Now, minutes ago, after all the backlash, Melissa Ford and her team has finally changed the title. Now, even if Melissa Ford's intentions were not to clout chase and profit from this, you have to know how it looks to the public. If you're fine with the backlash from this and all the criticism that comes with it, you gotta own it just like DJ Vlad has done. Now, who knows? Maybe Melissa Ford got permission from his family or his team, and everybody is just being outraged for no reason. I'm sure she's going to address it on the next podcast. You guys...
Yeah, I think that one right there is a little shaky. I think that's up to interpretation, and especially being the same day. See, it's like it just happened yesterday and today is the next day. So, like the guy said, maybe she should have waited a little time, but that's up to that. It's like, again, it's like something she owns. It's like her thing. It's my thing. You got it. It's yours. It's like that was an interview that's going to be critical. So maybe, she decided to just go ahead and do it and say, hey, but it is such a tight time. It's like right up on it the first day he died. Maybe wait a bit. Again, that's up to interpretation. Could they say she did the wrong thing? Excuse me, that's up to the people. I wouldn't necessarily look at it so bad because, again, if you look at news, regular news, like channel whoever, they're going to talk about this guy. They're going to talk about his legacy. Even if a person died and they did something bad, they're going to talk about it. They're not going to look at it and say, it's too soon. They're not going to look at it and say, hey, maybe we should mention this. Unless it's somebody that's on their side, that's in some kind of political thing or some kind of money game with them. But people that's actually celebrities and shit like that, they're going to speak on it. And that's just the major news. That's like the major outlets. So to look at one person and claim, oh, hey, you did it wrong, and you could just flip to any newspaper out there, and anybody who had an interview with him is putting it out. They're not sitting back saying, hey, I'm not going to do that now because, look, it just happened. They say, hey, look at this. These videos, his clips, his producers, his people who behind the scenes had interviews and conversations with him, they're talking about it. It's a form of celebrating his life. So I think that's just up to the interpretation of the person. What do you believe is the right thing to do in that regard? I'm going to look back on this for a couple more seconds.
Get in the comments below. Do you guys think Melissa Ford was fouled for the title change? Or is everybody making a big deal out of this and just blowing it out of proportion? You guys get in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys.
And then people be mad, man. When somebody die, it's hurtful. It's like anything. Somebody looking for somebody to pounce on because of the pain. You know what I mean? It's a lot of grievances and hurt people and so much more about you than hurt. You know what I'm saying? Of how people process stuff, you know what I'm saying? So everybody just not gonna be okay and just be like, oh, okay, man, that ain't nothing, man. Some people really are probably hurtful. Some people who probably named a kid after him. Some people who probably looked at him as a big brother or a person that they could look to ask questions and be friendly with. Not necessarily him particularly, but his character. Like, you know, damn, what would Theo do in this moment? You know, because you know what, man, I really thought he was, you know, it's TV. You know what I'm saying? It's make-believe, but people believe what they see. You understand what I'm saying? They believe what they know. And he always had a respectable legacy. He never let his stuff go under. He never played himself and looked like a fool out there. And that right there is hard to do. To be a person that's got a respectable legacy for decades into the future, and somebody like Bill Cosby is your I ain't gonna say leader, but I will say like your mentor. You know what I'm saying? And it took mad years for them to come after Bill Cosby. I thought he was gonna die without ever being a blemish on his title, but he's not able to pass his legacy on. Just like with Diddy, he's not able to pass his business legacy to his sons. You know what I'm saying? And so this Malcolm didn't have sons. He had a daughter. You know what I'm saying? She's too young to be anywhere in the media world now. But if she ever decides to do that, she don't have her father to help navigate her through what's what and who's who and how to do this. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody who see their father on TV their whole life growing up gonna be like, I want to do this for a living. You know. But now dad not there to say, hey, this what you do. This how you do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot lost when you lose a life. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say rest in peace to him, his family, everybody who liked him. Hope everybody could able to go through it and get over it and, you know, get through it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? He was definitely somebody who impacted me, and that's why I wanted to do this video and collect all of the videos that they talking about him on TV, on the internet, and we just talk about them and have a little fun with it. And hopefully his legacy lasts forever. Okay? Peace out, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.